Okay in the midst of everything that's going on the world stage right now. For my American friends, I'm thinking about you. Maybe you've seen me talk about this in other videos and stuff, but I've like truly been going through the stages of grief and processing the fact that Trump won re-election. And thanks, Paul. Paul says yes, but very excited for today's live. That's really nice. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I felt that it was important to try and speak to you live today in light of the fact that Bitcoin, first of all, as you know, hit new all-time highs on the 13th. So yesterday, it broke 93,000 US dollars, and that's really significant. And it's also significant to look at, I think, within the context of the fact that Trump won the election in the US, because in my view, that looks like it was the sole driver of the fact that the price broke through at that time. And so it makes it, for me, like it's a complex sort of ethical thing to an extent. But I feel like what I understand now is that, in my view, Trump is sort of like this, he's showing all this dysfunction within the American governing system and within the economic system, not only here, but globally. And it's becoming just really obvious, I think, because he exists, because he does what he does. And at first I found that, and I still do, I found that really distressing. But now, after kind of processing it and thinking things through, what I feel that I understand is that that contrast that he's bringing and the way he makes things more obvious is going to wake a lot more people up. And I think what's going to happen as a result is that Seeds is going to be able to be a part of showing that contrast on the other side. So we can say like, hey, here is Seeds, here is a new kind of ecosystem that uses decentralized tools, that is about helping people in need, that allows you to help someone and receive Seeds cryptocurrency in thanks. And therefore, like if and when Seeds crypto goes up in value, you're building wealth because you gave. And that's totally different from the old extractive zero sum economic system that brought people like Elon Musk to power to then like apparently interfere in the American election in strange ways. Um, that isn't to say I'm not like demonizing the old system in its entirety or anything like that. I'm just saying that like what I feel like I understood in the past few days after like literally going through like denial, crying, being really angry, and then coming to accept that Trump is going to be the next president again of this country, it made me see where Seeds fits into this. And I wanted to talk with you about that today, as well as like the larger cryptocurrency sector movements and kind of share my thoughts about that. And I'm happy to answer questions if you have any. And we have a small group here live. And then I just want to share these thoughts, I guess, and kind of ground them within what's going on. So first, I'm going to hop into, let's see, I did have some news pulled up. If you've come to other lives or if you've been a part of our course, you know that what I always suggest is like looking at the news first whenever you're kind of running through your routine as a trader. And the news in this country, I mean, this is the New York Times. The focus today is regarding like reckless choices that Trump is making for various like cabinet positions, I guess. Is AG cabinet position? I guess it's not. Yeah, he's appointing or trying to appoint some really kind of scary, questionable people. And I read that he's trying to get around Senate confirmation. So he's already trying to like subvert the democratic process in this other way. So I don't think we need to dwell on this overly, but it's already happening. It's just so I feel like, it just feels surreal, but it also feels like kind of like it had to go this way. And I didn't think he was going to win, but now it just looks like this is how it had to play out. And I see the role of Seeds in all of this over the next couple years and beyond. So the thing that was super unique is this showing you Bitcoin price graph yet. I guess it's not. I'm using OBS, which is kind of garbage. Let's see here. Yeah, I've switched on my machine to the Bitcoin price and it's not showing up here. I'm sorry. I can quickly try and make another window capture for this within OBS. If I can't show it to you though, we can just talk about it because Bitcoin went up a lot. And it's significant because it seems to be because of Trump. So we got this here. It'd be great if it would just show me this. No, it won't. I'm so sorry, y'all. The tools that I'm using, I don't know what. Okay, we're just gonna use my face. We'll get rid of this. And I'll just talk about it. Okay. We got this as a background apparently. The point is that Bitcoin went up to like 93,000 US dollars yesterday. It's come back down since. It's at about 89,643 as I look right now. And it's notable because it's it seems to me to be entirely fueled by Trump's win. And this weird shift that we've seen in the US that it's like not surprising in hindsight, but I didn't expect it was that you probably, if you've been hanging around for a while, you've heard me talk about how my bad experience in the cryptocurrency sector as a whole because of the misogyny in this sector. There's always been this hostility that I felt toward me and also towards seeds in a sort of more like generic way. Like it's not like people would attack seeds usually, but there would be this kind of like lack of support and like just we would get like ignored, which is weird in that I would think that the sector would want to uplift, like virtually the only project out there, certainly the longest running, that is actually about trying to help people in need. And so like I'd felt that dysfunction for a long time is what I'm trying to say. I also felt it when I was a stock trader too, which is why I left and why I got so excited about decentralized technology and its power to rebuild economic systems, which is what Seeds is working to do. And I thought that, like back from, I'm sorry if you've heard me say this stuff before, but back from the time when I started buying Bitcoin around $90 a coin in 2013, I was just like so stoked to see what could happen. And I saw that it had this potential to do that thing. Like there's this Buckminster Fuller quote that I really like where he talks about how like the way to change a system isn't to fight within that existing system. This is a poor paraphrase, but the way to change something is to build a new system that renders the old system obsolete. And I saw that decentralized tech had the capacity to allow us to do that. Finally, we didn't have the technology before then, and Seeds could play, I think it can play that role in a big way at scale. So what I'm trying to say is that I felt this weird energy in the cryptocurrency sector for many years, for at least over 10 years, because Seeds went through a Bitcoin focused, what was then a Bitcoin focused startup accelerator in the middle of 2014. What I didn't foresee, and I don't know that anyone did, is that it would force things in such a way that we saw this alignment with like MAGA in the US. And I'm sorry that this is such a US centric talk. It's just that Trump's election seems to be the driver of the Bitcoin price increase. So it seems significant to talk about right now. Anyway, so yeah, we saw people like the Winklevoss twins, who are the co-founders of the centralized exchange Gemini, coming out for Trump and crying out like they were victims of like Congress. It was just really weird. I mean, they're like the most privileged people in the world, among the most privileged people that are alive on Earth. And yet they saw themselves as victims, which is interesting. Um, it seems like that's a common theme. Trump certainly sees himself as a victim too. So it drove things so far right that we saw it like in 2021. That's when I started using TikTok a lot, the last market cycle. Um, in 2019, I first realized that even though Seeds was getting ignored, we'd always had trouble raising funds from venture capitalists, the investors that fuel tech projects, because like over 98% of VC funding goes to male founded organizations. That isn't the only reason. It isn't like, what I was doing was pristine and perfect and they were just totally shunning me. But it was probably, I would say, the largest factor in why we had so much trouble raising money. I saw lots of people that were coming up with me who were male raise money much more easily. So around 2019, I realized like, okay, there's enough mainstream awareness that about cryptocurrency is like a thing that I could create a course and like leverage my background as like a career profitable stock trader, whatever, who started buying Bitcoin in 2013. And I could use that as a way to help people learn, which is important. And trading is fun. Like I enjoy trading and still do it regularly today. And then we could also make seeds available to those people so that the course would be effectively free because they'd receive seeds when they signed up. And it could be a way to distribute the seeds and help people understand what the seeds project was as well, because we couldn't find traction in other ways. These other projects had so much money, and it's gratifying now that, like many of the projects that I saw raise $15 million or something in like 2017 when things were going crazy with ICOs, initial coin offerings. A lot of those projects aren't around anymore, and Seeds is and continues to move forward and continues to work to grow. So that was when I introduced the course, but we had to wait to this moment at which there was enough mainstream awareness that cryptocurrency was even a thing. And then, so through the next few years, through that market cycle, um, the Bitcoin halving, the third Bitcoin halving, there have been four in total so far. Bitcoin's almost 16 years old. It'll be 16 in January. Excuse me. And Bitcoin is the pioneering cryptocurrency. So the third Bitcoin halving was in May of 2020. And what those typically do is they act as like a catalyst to kick off market movements for the entire sector. And we've seen all-time highs for these cycles. We've typically hit them like 12 to 18 months after a Bitcoin halving. And that's what happened in that cycle, more or less, in that third cycle kicking off in May of 2020. So I was using TikTok then to share about, again, I thought I had to talk about cryptocurrency broadly because people didn't know what crypto was. And if they did, they often, especially I saw this a lot in women, which was, I hope that we can get around this in some way. There was a sense that people felt that they had to learn more before they could take action. And so it was like I was speaking about cryptocurrency broadly as a way to raise awareness and funding for Seeds, to help Seeds, like to sustain the project. And the course was a vehicle for that. And at that time on TikTok, I don't know if any of y'all hung out on TikTok then. Maybe some of y'all found me at that time and found Seeds through TikTok at that time. Um, but it was interesting, like there was sort of this shift happening. I think I could be wrong, but I think I was one of the first folks who was speaking about cryptocurrency on TikTok. Hi, Willie. Welcome. And and so there was kind of this explosion in interest in cryptocurrency on TikTok. And then what happened was Elon Musk got involved bizarrely and started promoting Doge, which he had no association with. The co-founder of Doge, like, kind of despises Elon Musk. Yeah, and then it was just this really strange thing where like people on TikTok were aligning with Elon Musk, and that was before he went far right. And then I remember like most one of the posts that I made on TikTok that got the most backlash, where I got death threats, like there was a lot of hate, a lot of misogyny, was a post that I made where I was just like, hey, what you think is happening when you're buying Dogecoin, like it isn't actually fucking over hedge funds in the way that you think it is. Um, and it was just about like trying to help people understand that listening to what Elon Musk was saying like wasn't having the effect that they might have thought. And people attack that. But it wasn't just like far right people. It was like generally there was more of this general alignment behind Musk, and then Musk went far right after that, seemingly to get out of legal problems that he's having in the United States, because there are, I think, 3 federal investigations into Elon Musk and into Tesla. So since Trump won, it looks like those are going to get like called off or something, or that's Musk hope, I guess. Anyway, so then things just went crazy and they started to go toward the right. I think Elizabeth Warren played a role in this sort of unwittingly, unfortunately, because she kind of channeled her like anti-corporate sentiment, which I think is healthy and good. She was like holding big corporations accountable, but she started to shift that to the crypto sector, and she was kind of applying it, I think, too broadly. And also they just messed up because like SBF and FTX, that still failed massively, and nobody protected consumers from that. So as ever, like lawmakers in this country, last I correct me if someone knows if this is incorrect, but like last I had checked, the average congressperson was like a 55-year-old white man who was a lawyer. And those folks don't necessarily know anything about tech, let alone about cryptocurrency. So I don't know, all these factors, it's just interesting to see the way that kind of aligned and like mixed together to shift things toward the situation we're in right now. But now I can see that I've been playing a lot of chess lately. It's almost like in a chess game, things have shifted so far to one side of the board. So then you can go on the other side and break open. And that's what I see seeds being able to do, because we can just say, like, this is what we're doing. It's very different from anything else out there. We need to support new systems to transcend these old, obviously broken down dysfunctional systems. And so that's the role that seeds can play. I wanted to, if OBS wasn't garbage, I could show you. Let me see if I can, like, I mean, it is at least showing you this, although it's like weirdly small. Let me see if I can. Y'all can see that, right? You can see the screen that shows like Bitcoin's price. Let me check the chat. Let me know if that is invisible to you. I'm trying to show you Bitcoin's price right now, and it's like kind of letting me, but my face isn't there. All right, nobody's saying anything, but hopefully it's working. Let me know if you can't see that. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about, if you can see this, the current price of Bitcoin is 89,511 US dollars. And the highs, this graph is garbage now too. Sorry that I complain so much about like bad tech and bad corporations. I just get, it's like one of my hugest pet peeves. I just get really angry when these companies that have so much money and so many resources like still aren't making good products. I mean, OBS is open source, to be fair. So if you can see this, it hit, according to this, it hit like 93,551 on the 13th of November yesterday at 8:15 a.m. That's enormous, right? I remember, yeah, y'all, like I said, I started buying at $90 a coin roughly. And look at this now. And I remember when people were talking about what a big deal it would be, when it hit $1,000, and now it's here. But I wanted to share that it's interesting to see this isn't happening for Ether in the same way. And Ether is, as y'all probably know, the #2 cryptocurrency by market size. So if we take a look at Ether really quick, it has come up. So it's ridden this wave that Bitcoin kind of created post-election in the US, but it hasn't gotten anywhere near to breaking all-time highs. And this stupid graph won't even show us all-time highs, because all-time highs were hit in what, roughly 4 years ago or something like that. They're around $4,800 a coin. So in this run right here that just happened off of the election in the US, it got up to about 34,500 at best. So that's still quiet, little. You be quiet. Be quiet. So that's very far off highs. So I think this is notable too and worth talking about, because it's just Bitcoin. The Trump election is driving Bitcoin. And I wanted to share that the reason I see for that is institutional investment. We know like the Bitcoin ETF and other Bitcoin based sort of like traditional market TradFi products were introduced in January of 2024. And when those were first introduced, it drove Bitcoin to new all-time highs for that time, right? Pretty quickly too. We had the Ether ETF introduced in the US, and I think it was, what was it, May, I want to say like 23rd or something, but that doesn't sound quite right. But sometime in the middle of the year. And so I speculated that it would have a similar effect on the ether price, that we would see new ether all-time highs, because the fact that an ETF, an exchange traded fund product, existed in the US meant that more sort of traditional investors who were maybe too just not comfortable getting involved with cryptocurrency in a direct way, they could buy sort of a version of it that was in a form that they were familiar with. And anytime more people are buying the thing, the price is going to go up within the current market structure, right? But that hasn't happened to the same extent or anywhere close to it that it has with Bitcoin, which I think is really interesting. And I think the reason for that is that there's less awareness about ether and sort of the like among the types of investors who would fall into that category, who are afraid of getting involved directly with cryptocurrency before. Um, and then also to an extent the regulatory environment, because ether was sort of like mired in more uh, concerns about whether or not it was a security in the US. And we've gotten away from that now. It looks like that isn't going to be a concern in the States in the way that it looked like maybe it could be several months ago. And that's another reason that these like crypto bros who are so privileged they don't have to worry about the other stuff that Trump is doing. Um, that's another reason they went for Trump. They think he's going to make a quote unquote better regulatory environment for Bitcoin, but I don't know that that's true. And that's another thing. I made a video like yesterday, if you want to check it out, or if you have already, I think Paul's already watched it, where I talked about like how silly markets are, this movement. Like if we look at this again, we go back to Bitcoin. Whenever it went up to highs off of the election, like markets are not rational because human beings are largely not rational. Maybe not largely. They're often not rational. Markets move in the ways that they do because of perception and emotion. And so it was what drove this to highs, in my view, is simply the fact that a bunch of crypto bros think that Trump is going to create a better quote unquote regulatory environment for Bitcoin. Um, Trump complained about cryptocurrency when he was actually president. He was talking about banning it, but like his narcissism was a big driver for that, of course. At the time, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg were introducing a cryptocurrency they created called Libra. Maybe some of y'all remember that. So yeah, it just seemed like it was a thing where like Trump was mad about Zuckerberg. So he was like, I'm going to ban cryptocurrency. Or so it's just like, if you've ever dealt with like a narcissist, especially one that's not very smart, the their motivations are pretty transparent. So that's what he said when he was actually in office, but then coming out of office and then running for president again, these people I think kind of manipulated him to an extent, but none of them I think are that smart either. I mean, the Winklevoss twins are not geniuses. Elon Musk is not a genius. So I mean, anyway, so that's what Trump actually said. So my point is just that this is the perception that stuff is going to go up. And I don't know that it is, because Trump hasn't been able, we've seen in the past, to actually deliver on most of his campaign promises. We don't have a wall like along the southern border in the US. Um, and I think he built little bits of a wall or something. He didn't get Mexico to pay for it. So it's just like there's this idea that Trump is going to do this stuff that's good for the regulatory environment, and maybe some of it will get pushed through because in the US, like the House and the Senate are also dominated by Republicans after this election. But then it just, I don't know, it just begs the question, like, this isn't quote unquote real. Markets aren't real anyway. They're driven again by perception and emotion. And just like the ethics of all of that feels weird. I don't know. So then again, I just come back to seeds and just like saying, like, okay, we can share seeds more broadly. And it can be, I think, more visible in this climate, as messed up as it is. I think it's ultimately going to head in like a higher direction, and seeds can sort of be hopefully like this beacon where we can just say like, hey, here's this other thing that works in this new way that is about helping people in need and rewarding those who give, because they helped, and allowing them to build wealth if and when seeds cryptocurrency goes up because they help people in need. And that's just so different from what's going on in the other parts of this world that I think maybe now it can actually, that message can get heard, I think, in a way that I've been struggling to get it heard for many years. So we'll see. That's what I'm thinking. Um, One last thing I wanted to share sort of about the general market. If OBS will like actually let me show it to you. Um, let's see. Maybe it will let me. Did it switch to that? Let's see. Yeah, okay. All right. So this is the coin market cap listing for Flavia, this like meme coin that launched recently. You might have seen me make a post about it, and I talked about it in our Discord. And I'm wrong. I'm wrong about this trade, at least so far. But the thing about that too is that you're never, quote unquote, like truly wrong about a trade until you close your position. So I haven't closed out my position. I think this could still come back up. Whenever I shared about this, I shared about it like the day after it launched. So if we go back, let's see. It's a super new crypto. Yeah, it's like less than a month old, I think. Yeah, it's like 3 weeks old or something. So it went up to like, I think, 0.041 cents or something right here. This, yeah, this says 0.039, but I remember it going slightly higher than that. And I was buying it like 2 cents or something like that. So it's just completely collapsed. And when I shared about this, the reason I thought it could be a good trade, and I still think this reasoning makes sense. So it's like that idea that I talk about in our course where, we're learning all the time. We don't have like perfect knowledge. We can't see the future, obviously, when we're making trades. It's important to admit when we're wrong if we learn something that tell changes our opinion and makes us think that the trade is no longer profitable. And I've learned more certainly since this dropped, and I've learned more about the founder's behavior, which I'm going to share with you as well in case you haven't seen what happened with this. But I still think because we're heading into a crypto bull run in all likelihood and heading into like mid to late 2025, I still think I could probably make money on this trade. So I'm holding right now. I'm not buying anymore. If I really believed in it, I would be buying and loading up at this super low price. And if it looks like it's going to start to go, I mean, you can see for whatever it's worth, you can see on the right here that the community sentiment is 89% bullish. So that's supposed to mean that the vast majority of people think it's going to go up. If it looked like there was a catalyst that would start driving it up, maybe I'd buy some more down here. So I'm just holding this right now. But the reason I wanted to share this with you is because I wonder if this is a sign that meme coins, like this wasn't even a particularly shitty one. Um, it's AI related, and it kind of looked like there could be some interesting experiments they could try relating to like a relationship between AI and cryptocurrency. The problem is that the founder, so like the founder follows Seeds on Twitter and we follow him. And it's been that way for years. And I was like familiar with his work, and he'd raised a bunch of money from specifically Sequoia Capital, which is like one of the fanciest VCs in the US. He'd raised like $6 million for his previous project. That project was acquired, and they didn't disclose the amount it was acquired for. And my understanding is that when that happens, it usually means that it lost money or maybe just broke even if they like don't want to share how much it went for. So he seemed legit, more legit. And he handled this so terribly, yo. Like, he made a YouTube video the day after it launched when it was very near its highs. And he was talking about what they were going to do and how they were getting market makers and how they wanted to take it to centralized exchanges because it's just trading on decentralized exchanges. It was just trading on decentralized exchanges at that time and still is, as far as I understand. He said he was going to do all this stuff. He made taking it to centralized exchanges sound like it was about inclusivity, which was disingenuous. So it's kind of I kind of think he's full of shit. Like I kind of thought that, but I thought that before, but I didn't think that it would go like super sideways because I figured like he has a reputation to maintain. He's like making these videos about it, whatever, and so forth. And then the next day he took the video, he privated it so you can't see it anymore. and he stopped responding to people's questions on Twitter about what was going on. He's not in the Telegram. He just basically ghosted the project, which is such a dumb, cowardly kind of thing to do. He really couldn't have handled things more poorly. And it looked like people were dumping it. Like it looked like a rug pull because huge volumes, $4 or $5 million in volume and trade volume a day, were being sold as it dumped in here, as the price came down here. So the reason I'm sharing all this is I'm wondering if this is another sign in the same way or in a similar vein, and the way like Trump is like a harbinger. Harbinger is not the right word because it already happened. He like represents, he's an embodiment or like a lightning rod or something for like a certain kind of energy that we need to clear out of society so that humanity can advance. I'm wondering if this, what happened with this Flavia coin, which looked to my view, in my view, which looked to be like a more promising new meme coin than pretty much anything else there is. The fact that this didn't work makes me think that shitty meme coins may no longer work either, which I think could be a sign of this larger shift I'm talking about, like getting away from those like negative, toxic, quote unquote, energies or whatever in the sector. So we'll see if that happens. But again, like I said, I'm going to hold on to my Flavia for now. Um, and we'll see if it can't come back up and I can't make a little bit of profit down the line. We'll see. Little be quiet. I did almost think, just to share this, I was like, I kind of made the like hopium mistake because I was watching it closely when it got up to it was point 0. I remember it being 0.041 on the platform I was trading it on. And I thought about taking profits there, and it's convenient for me to say that now, but I didn't do that. I was hoping it would go up more, and I shouldn't have. That's always like something to be careful about when you're when there isn't, because there was no graphical information to support any sort of specific behavior because it had so recently launched, so we had like 2 days worth of data or whatever. And so yeah, it's just with meme coins too, they don't behave like other things do necessarily. And getting in early is also so important. Like if I had bought 12 hours before I did, I could have rode a pretty big upturn. And you can do that even with shitty meme coins, but I don't know. It's typically not my style. It can be done, but you really have to find ways to get information early. And I don't even know, like, then it begs other questions like, it looked like the people that spiked this, were people that he knew, which is like akin to insider trading, which isn't, it's not legal if it's a security. And it's just also like not ethically cool. So anyway, so we'll see if that actually does end up being, that would be an appropriate place, I think, to use the word harbinger, if this could be a harbinger for the sector at large and kind of what's going on with meme coins. Doge is up though, I saw, but I feel like at this point, Doge is like institutional almost. It's like, because it's like the original meme coin before meme coins were even a thing. So I feel like it's just a different sort of thing. But yeah, it's at like 39 cents right now, which is high. Super high for Doge. So some people made some money in that. Not the founder, because he sold all of his a long time ago because it was a joke. Um, but yeah. Okay. So as a last thing, I just wanted to share, and then I'll take a look to see if there are any questions or anything too. Yeah, so right now, if you believe in the Seeds mission, if you're interested in the Seeds mission, if you're already giving, I appreciate you so much. You're so appreciated. Thank you so much for that. But I really want to stress, it's like, so what I was trying to talk about at the beginning, where like I was came up with the course in 2019 and was speaking about cryptocurrency broadly on TikTok. The reason I was talking about all that is because I feel like with this shift, now I can just speak about seeds, or I can like position seeds more squarely in the center of what I'm trying to share. And I've been trying to do that more so on YouTube now. YouTube's where I've been focusing my attentions. And I think that's going to be the smart way to bring a visibility to seeds heading into this bull market. So it doesn't feel like I have to just be like cryptocurrency generally. And then the negative side of that was that I did not want to be defending cryptocurrency as a sector when there have been so many bad actors, and I wasn't responsible, obviously, personally for their behavior. And also just the sector has been so hateful and misogynistic anyway. It just put me in a weird position where it was like, okay, I have to talk about cryptocurrency broadly because I came up with this idea for this course, and it actually was helpful and sustained seeds um, for years, for many years. It's almost the sixth year, I guess I already said, that since we first started offering the course. And now a lot of people offer courses, which is another weird thing. So, like, it's like there weren't as many courses whenever I introduced it. There weren't any cryptocurrency courses, at least that I was aware of, that focused on trading at that time. There probably were, but I didn't see it. And now you see it a lot more. But now with this shift, it feels like I can just be like, yo, it's seeds, like focus on seeds. Um, Emphasis on seeds. So we are still offering the course. I like doing it. It's fun. I like trading. It's really fun to like get to hang out with everybody while we're going through the process whenever I teach it live. Um, and because the market is moving so much now, and because, as I mentioned earlier, like with the Bitcoin halving on April 20th, I don't think I said the date, but it was April 20th of 2024, the most recent Bitcoin halving, the fourth Bitcoin halving. So history shows that we might be seeing new all-time highs, like progressively being made 12 to 18 months after that, right? So that would take us into mid to late 2025, okay? Right? So what am I trying to say with that? I'm trying to say that I want us to get positioned to be a part of that, but also really be sharing the message that Seeds is working. It's a system that transcends a lot of the dysfunction, I believe, in the old systems. So yeah, we're still offering the course. That's what I was starting to say. Because things are moving, I realized that what we could do, and this would be helpful for Seeds too, because it would bring in some more resourcing for us at this time, which will be good because if Seeds is bringing in more resourcing now, aka if we're bringing in more money, like I think crypto is going to go up a bunch. So Seeds will have that funds and we can put it into cryptocurrency and then get the benefits if it goes up, right? So we're offering the on-demand version of the course, which is a recording the last time I taught it live, which was beginning in April to July of this year. So it was recent. And you're invited to join. And I wish I could show you. Hopefully it'll let me show you maybe. Yep, cool. Okay, at least it's showing this. So I'll put the link in the chat. The first 10 people, I kind of hate doing things like this, like promotions or something, but they can be helpful for people that take part in them. So we're going to offer the course, the on-demand version of the course, up until Thanksgiving Day in the US, which is 2 weeks from today, up until midnight Pacific time that day, or 11:59 p.m. Pacific. If you would like to get the course now, you will also then have future access to every live version of the course that I teach. And the first 10 people that sign up here, if you would like, we can also do a one-on-one session for free where we just talk about your trading strategy and I answer any questions that you have. So we're doing that now. This helps Seeds, this sustains Seeds. It's kept Seeds alive over years of not having very much funding. And I think it's fun. And I think that I have knowledge and certainly I don't know anyone else that kind of has the perspective that I have on what's going on in the sector. Um, yeah, I can give you knowledge and share experience that I haven't seen other people out there that are able to offer. There aren't any other courses taught by the founder of a cryptocurrency project who used to be a pro Wall Street trader who started buying Bitcoin in 2013. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And I'm also offering this humanitarian, feminine perspective about where I think society is heading. So I bring in that as well, how I'm thinking about the larger spiritual trends that we're going for. So if you're interested in that, please join. It's effectively free too because you receive Seeds cryptocurrency with it when you pay up front. And yeah, it sustains our project. And I think I try to make it as good a value as I possibly can. And if you join now, you can get the information as Bitcoin is, like already making new all-time highs. And then you're also able to join us at no additional cost the next time I teach the course live. And it looks like, as I said in the email I sent yesterday, I think I should do that in early 2025-ish. It seems like that's going to be the appropriate time. So, excuse me. So there's that. And yeah, as ever, see, I don't know if you've been to other chats that I've done. Paul and Willie have. I know Willie's been coming to chats I've given for years. Um, I'm really kind of centering seeds much more so than I used to. And like now it's not showing you this. So the other things that you can do to be a part of this to help and also I think get benefit as we're moving through this cycle is you can buy seeds on Uniswap. That's really appreciated. That puts more ether into our what we're calling our mutual aid pool now to help people understand how it works. That's how Seeds is able to send funds to people in need around the world. So you could do that. That's great. Um, you can create a position in the pool, and you can do that to earn additional funds as you're holding your seeds. Nothing in the cryptocurrency sector is without risk, but this has been very, it's created a lot of value for people in the past because when you do this, you not only can earn fees, you can also get free airdrops, which are just free money. I've said this a bunch, but like because I did this, because I created a position on Uniswap back in 2020, before then actually, but in 2020, Uniswap had a surprise airdrop when they introduced their cryptocurrency Uni. And I had added a lot of the cryptocurrency that I was holding. I had created positions for a lot of it, but some of it I just had sitting in a wallet for no reason. And after Uni did that airdrop, I was kicking myself because if I had just added all of the funds that I had to a pool to earn money off of them anyway, I would have gotten so much more money in that airdrop that I could have bought like a nice house in the US. But I didn't do that for no reason. So what I'm trying to say is don't be like me. It's very rarely we don't see airdrops like that anymore. I mean, that was kind of a singular event anyway, but even this year, earlier this year, I think the most recent airdrop that I did, I got like $2,900 for free. So there's that, and then Seeds has also offered bonuses for years. So it, it's worth doing, I would say, but it's not, as with anything, it's not without risk. Everything in cryptocurrency carries some risk. But if you'd like to do this, it helps the Seeds Project as well. You can help someone in need, of course, and you can choose to do one time or recurring gifts. Thank you to, I know some folks who are joining us live right now are recurring givers, and I appreciate you very much. And we have our current featured one-time request is up here. Yeah, so Kimberly in Puerto Rico made a request for help through Seeds to continue her education. So you can make a one-time gift directly to her as well if you'd like to do that. And with everything, you'll get Seeds and thanks. So there's all of that. Those are all ways to be a part of it and to support. And I'm trying to like be more direct in my call to action regarding those things that you can do to support. Because now I think I can center Seeds in a way that I couldn't before in the previous climate that we were in. So that seems like it's a good sign of progress, a positive sign in the midst of a lot of negativity right now in the US. Yeah, okay. So I think that's all I'll say right now. Um, yeah, I think that's all I got. Please share about Seeds as well with the people you care about. That's really helpful to do too. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the chat. Um, cool. The chart was visible. Good, yeah. Finally caught a live stream. Mayam came from South Sudan. Nice to see you, Mayam. Yeah, if y'all haven't checked it out, Mayam was nice enough to let me interview him recently, and I made a YouTube video about it. You should check it out. Mayam's like he's such an ideal, I feel like, for what I hope that we could find in various communities around the world because he received a gift from Seeds almost 8 years ago now, and he used it to start a successful business that he shared is still sustaining him and his family to this day. He said he has 2 employees, And then he taught other people in his community in South Sudan how to use seeds. So it was really awesome. And we can send gifts to folks in Mayam's community in South Sudan, particularly to women, even though they don't have. I think, as I understood, the government hadn't been issuing them IDs, but now like a telco is going to start issuing them IDs, so they couldn't open bank accounts basically. But seeds can help them, even though the government hasn't. Um, Willie says, I was surprised that Ether did not go higher after the election like Bitcoin did. Yeah, you might have typed this before I said this earlier, but yeah, I'll just share again that it just seems to be, in my view, I think it's like institutionals who, I think Bitcoin is perceived to be more decentralized also, and that's part of it. Um, we know who like the founders of Ether are. There are like 8 co-founders or something, and it had a marketing arm and has a marketing arm called Consensus that just had huge layoffs recently. So it seems more Joe Lubin, who's one of the co-founders who ran Consensus. He just seems more corporate or something. In some ways, because Bitcoin's founder is anonymous and continues to be anonymous, it's kind of cool. I sometimes think that, like, I wish I was the anonymous founder of Seeds or something, but that doesn't seem like that's what would help Seeds the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like I should be talking about it and sharing how I think about it and everything, and why I think it needs to exist now, and where I think society is heading, and so forth. Um, yeah, so I think that's part of it too. And then, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, sorry, you probably said this before I mentioned it, but just for anyone else who missed this, I'm wondering if Bitcoin went up so much more so than Ether did, because the sorts of investors who would have gotten involved in the Bitcoin ETF, which again was launched in January of 2024 in the US, the type of folks who would have been reluctant to get involved with cryptocurrency directly, but were comfortable buying essentially like a stock market form of Bitcoin. I used to trade ETFs when I was a pro stock trader. Um, those folks are probably less interested in Ether. It's probably like something that they'll be more inclined to buy in a year or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that, those aren't like the early movers. They're sort of more traditional conservative folks. Um, but yeah, it was interesting. And it feels a little similar to excuse me, like my surprise about that. I mean, I wasn't super surprised, I guess, but it feels not unlike Trump getting elected. I didn't think that Trump would win. And then it kind of just shows like, oh yeah, there's big swaths of people in this country who have a super different perspective than I do. And there's a lot of problems in that, needless to say. But I think it's a little like that, like sort of more conservative mentalities. They're going with Bitcoin first, and Ether's going to be kind of a longer game for them. But I still, as I think most of y'all know, I'm still of the belief that there is a likelihood that Ether could overtake Bitcoin in price at a certain point, um, provided inflation doesn't get in the way, because there are still, I think, mechanisms within Ethereum's structure that can lend themselves to it being inflationary. They've taken steps to reduce that. Um, anyway, but because you can build projects on top of Ethereum, and that Bitcoin wasn't designed for that, the network effects are much greater, because so many projects have been built on top of Ether since, including Seeds and Uniswap and a bunch of other projects that you've probably heard of. Yeah. Paul says, I also created my first Seeds Ether LP recently. Thanks, Paul. That's awesome. Appreciate it. Paul says, Rachel, will there be a separate YT channel for Seeds in the future to have content videos about Seeds and Seeds achievement goals updates? Interesting. Nobody has suggested that before. Yeah, that would be a great idea. We don't have the bandwidth to do that now. And that's the thing too. Another challenge we've had, like we literally just added a page on the website a couple weeks ago to show some pictures and videos from past recipients of gifts through Seeds. But because for years we didn't require that people submit photos or video, we don't have a lot of content there. And I am trying to do that more so now. We started with interviewing Mayom. I have another interview that I'm going to share, hopefully in the next couple weeks, in an edited video. Yeah, it would be great to have that. But I also wonder, I mean, if you think it's something that we should definitely do, sounds like you think that we should, yeah, we could absolutely consider it. But I've also wondered, like, um, I don't know, like, at least for me, if something seems more, I almost feel like I trust things more if it's like somebody like a person like me coming on to talk about the project and stuff than if it's like sort of a dedicated. I guess I just couldn't. I don't see a way that that couldn't kind of feel corporatey or something. Um, we don't. It wouldn't have to. I'll think more about it. I think showing some biases there too. But I guess I've kind of felt like it's been better for seeds, and I think it is also kind of where we're heading in terms of larger trends for like a person, me, who has had this journey that led to seeds and whatever and like struggles and stuff. I can share that. And I feel like that may be likelier to connect with people. And then I can start introducing, and I'm trying to introduce more interviews with people that Seeds has interacted with over the years too. But yeah, down the line, that could be cool. Um, yeah. Thanks for the suggestion, Paul. I appreciate that a lot. Um, we'll see. I'm thinking about like Charity Water is a charity that's US based if you're familiar with it. And they sometimes have like really great videos and they don't feel super corporate-y. But I think their founder is like a good person and that makes a big difference. If that isn't there, then the organization can kind of go astray. Um, yeah, I guess I'm just skeptical of like marketing and sort of traditional marketing and stuff. And hadn't wanted Seeds to kind of go that route. And when we've tried, I never wanted my ego to get in the way of like trying something that could help us, right? But when we have sort of taken steps in that direction in the past, it's never really worked. And it seems like the universe or energies or whatever were trying to show me like, no, that isn't the way to take Seeds. We have to go in this other direction. Anyway, but yeah, certainly being able to show more impact is good. I'm rambling kind of. I'll finish this up, but maybe it's helpful to hear these thoughts. Um, but yeah, reason we didn't have more photos and videos for years prior to this is because I didn't want to like force people to do that extra work. And a problem I'm finding now that is something in myself that I need to heal that is showing up in Seeds and has caused problems in Seeds, excuse me, is that I need to set better boundaries, basically. So I'm going to share more about this. I was like recently robbed of like a what for me was a huge amount of money. And I think it happened in part because I had been putting, for many years, I put a lot of my personal money into Seeds. And when we very rarely had like a bad actor. We've only really had one bad actor that I can think of in many years, which is, I think, really good. It really says a lot about like the nice people that are a part of our community. But it's still been the pool has been depleted over the years. And like I can't just be putting my money into it to prop it up. It can't just be me, is what I'm trying to say. So like, and that's a function of me being too hyper independent for a long time because I didn't have support in my family of origin and stuff. So it was just like, oh, I have to figure out how to do stuff myself. And you can't build a community that way that is like going to go the distance. So I need to shift that in myself. And I think I got robbed so that I can't put money into the Seeds pool personally. So that means that we have to, it's like forcing me and forcing Seeds to ask for more support from others. And so I really want to ask y'all to be a part of that. If you've received value from Seeds in any way, if you've come to these chats, if you've, gotten any benefit, and even if you haven't, and you just want to help people in need, please give to Seeds, buy Seeds, and LP in the Seeds mutual aid pool. Um, yeah, I think that's why I got robbed. So I think I was really, really devastated about it first. And now I can see how it's can be for the greater good, longer term. And I'll share more thoughts about that soon. I've been saying that, I know, but I've been trying to put something bigger together, just sort of share like here's the plan for the next year to 2 years. What do y'all think? Do you have any feedback? And share like where I've made mistakes and what I see, like the consequence of the mistakes I've made and how I can address them and Seeds can address them as well. So I'm still trying to put that together, but it's kind of like I've been surprised to see how much I really have needed to reflect to articulate that vision. So it's been good. That's a big part of why I took this break. I'm supposed to be on vacation right now. I felt like I had to do this today because of everything that was going on. So anyway, yeah, I'll share that soon and I'll stop rambling right now. Yeah. Okay, y'all. Is there anything else you want to touch on or anything before we go? It's 11:55 my time right now, Pacific time. Looks like no. Okay. Thank you so much, as ever, for your time and attention. I really appreciate your support so much. Thank you. Truly. Thank you so much. Um, yeah. And I'll catch you later. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.